Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to today's flight. And on today's flight, we are flying the Aeroplane Heaven DC-3 as part of our Tour of England series. We're currently up in the northwestern part of England, Walney Island, north of Blackpool. And we're going to be heading south, cutting across the main north-south part of England, and heading down to the historic town of Rochester, which I believe is just south of the Thames, southeast of London. So that's going to be our route today. We're going to be doing a couple VORs on the way, and yeah, it should be a good flight. We're going to be going up to 9,000 feet, and we should get a good view of England from there. I have rolled the time back. It's currently 11 a.m. local time, and we are on the few clouds preset because from everything I could see, the weather right across the whole of England is pretty crap today. A lot of rain and clouds and stuff, so we want to be able to see what we're doing on these flights. So that's why we've got instead of adding atmosphere, it would just be a mess, so we're on the few clouds preset. So let's hop on board. We can start getting this DC-3 up and ready to go. Alright, now that we're in, we will get the doors closed in the back and all locked up. You can see it's a small airfield here, and a couple small runways, but we should be okay getting out of here, and it should be pretty nice. So let's go up top here. We're going to be on the battery cart. We'll get the battery cart hooked up, and that's going to give us our electrical power. You can hear the gyros and everything starting to spin up. Alright, so we're going to come through here. We'll get the beacon light on. Position lights can come on. We will make sure our master is plugged in, and we'll turn the mags on for both engines so they are set and ready to go. Coming over to this side, we'll make sure the cowl flaps are open and everything is set properly down the panel here. Alright, let's flip that out of the way for now as we get ready to start. So, Energizer, boost pumps, generators, and primers are all up here, and we should all be good to go. Starting the right engine first, we're going to bring the mixture all the way forward to auto rich, and we're going to bring the propellers all the way forward as well. We're also now going to come over here and set our fuel tanks on the right side, going to the right main tank. That is now set. Come up top, we are going to energize the starter, which is on this side for the right engine. Hold that down. Should hear it starting to spool up. Turn on the boost pump, turn on the generators. Once we get a steady tone off of the Energizer, we know the wheel is spinning at full tilt. We will start and prime. And there we go. There's that first engine up and going. Oh, we were in the building there. Alright, we're going to bring the RPM up to about 1,000 RPM. Let the engine start to warm up. There we go. And we're going to repeat for the other engine. Engine number 1. So, mixture up to auto rich. Prop coming fully forward. Cracking the throttle. Spin the Energizer up on the left side. In fact, I think I've got a view set up for that. Yeah, there we go. Pull the engine back on the right as she's warming up. So we're going to boost pump on, generators are on. We're going to Mesh to the left. Click prime. No, for some reason she kicked off there. Let's do the Energizer again. Mesh and prime. Sounds like she's up and going. Actually, nope. I know what I forgot to do. Fuel tanks. Let's get over to the left main. Let's try that again. She's just running on the prime there. Alright, mesh left, prime left. There she goes. Yep, looking good. Just gonna take a second to warm up. While she does that, we can get the rest of everything else on. We'll turn on the avionics. There they come. And both engines are warming up. So we're going to leave the boost pumps on until we're up in the air. Now we'll look at our navigation. We're doing VORs for our nav. So the first VOR we're going to is the MCT VOR, which is London, or sorry, London, Manchester, 11355. So we'll dial that in, 11355, and we'll switch that over to our nav 1 primary. The second one is the Trent VOR of 115.7, and we'll put 115.7 in our nav 2, and then the one after that will be 117.5, which is just north of London, and that one is set up there. Our needles are down here, which will give us a little bit of help for our headings. The first one we're going to want is a heading of 250 or 152 degrees. So we're just going to dial this around to give us a little bit of a hand on which way we're going to go. There we are, about 152 degrees. Right there. So we're going to be taking off on runway 23. 3,400 feet. It's short enough, or the aircraft can go fine on that, even though it is pretty short. Basically, we're going to taxi out here, then turn right, backtrack, and then we'll be heading straight out. And as mentioned, we're sitting on an island, so we should get some nice views as we head out. But the engines are coming up nicely, all nice and warm. We'll switch over to the main. We'll leave it on the main tanks. We'll go to auxiliary and cruise for a bit. Temperatures are all coming up and everything is looking fine. So all the chocks and fire extinguishers are away. We can turn on our landing lights for taxi. We'll switch over to the battery, get rid of the battery cart, make sure our generators are on. Everything else is looking good at the moment. Over to Unicom 122.8 on the radio, not that we're using it, but it's fine. And we get these windows closed, make it a little bit quieter in here. go. And we are ready to taxi out. We're going to see if we can swing her around and head out this way. She is going to go forward quite quickly once I release the brakes. Alright, so we're going to pull back on the rudder there. We're on manual brakes and we're already starting to move. Get that tail around now. Heading back too far. Of course, with tail wheel airplanes, you want to keep a bit of back pressure on the elevator. That helps with the prop wash, forcing the tail down so she doesn't bounce up. Because if the air gets under and you let the elevator hang, it could lift the tail. And the tail's what's giving you your steering on the ground, so you don't want to lose that. Head down to the end here. While we're doing that, we'll make sure all our lights are on that we want. Passing lights can stay off. Those lights are fine. Windshield lights, or the DIs. Well, we'll turn the windshield heater on. Turn the pitot heater on. We don't need the other heaters yet. Watch our speed. And everything else seems to be good. We're not going to be needing de-ice at the moment. A lot of back pressure to hold the tail down while we brake. And then we're just going to spin her around here when we get to the end of the runway. Rudder in. She's got a free cast-steering tail wheel, so a little bit of brake and she'll spin around. There we go. Alright, we're facing down the runway, so we're going to go half flaps for takeoff. Doing the short runway. And we're going to sit on the brakes for a second. Slowly start bringing the engine up. Just get this up here. I'm going to need that. On that. All right. Coming up on the power. It's 1500 RPM. It's 2000 brakes released. Coming up to 40 inches of pressure. Easing off the back pressure. A little bit of forward stick now. Bring that tail up when it's ready to fly. There we go. Ease off, let her just roll down the runway in flying attitude. Airspeed's alive. 70 knots, a little bit of back pressure. And we're up. Plenty of room. Alright, you're coming up. Very good. Alright, so we're going to maintain our climb on this heading. When we hit 500 feet, we'll bring in the first stage of flaps. It's 500 feet. First notch of flaps coming up. nose down, start building airspeed. We're going to come back to 25 inches RPM, or 2500 RPM, 40 inches of pressure, and we go flaps full. Bring those props back up to 2500. There we go. Keep the climb going. And there's 1,000 feet. So we're going to make our turn now. 152, we're 1,000 feet up. There's the island. There we go. Trim out, get her nice and stable. Turn on the gyro pilot. Turn to 152 now. There. We're going to work the angle here to try to keep us at about 130 knot climb. There we go. We'll ease a little bit more eastward. But we are flaps up, we are gear up. Cowl flaps are open. We're still on auto rich as we're climbing. As mentioned, we're going to head for 9,000 feet. See, our needles are pointing, so we're not quite pointing to where we want to be. So we'll dial in a little bit more of an eastward, get us on track. Heading for that 9,000 feet. Can increase our climb rate a little bit, and we're going to watch our manifold pressure because it is going to be dropping as we climb. Bring that back up to 40 inches. Bring the props back up to 2,500. And that's all due to changes in air pressure as we're climbing up into the higher atmosphere. And we are on multiplayer. See everybody around. Again, this is one of those flights, if you want to join in, you're more than welcome to. Just come on over to the Discord. Links are in the description. You get all the information about our flights and where we go, especially on Wednesdays, which are kind of our old aircraft, vintage airplane multiplayer flights. You don't need to be flying the DC-3, you just need to have something that flies roughly the same speed, and then you can tag along on the flights. So there's 5,000 feet coming up, we got 4,000 to go. Of course, we're going to 9,000 feet because we're flying in the eastern half of the compass between 0 and 180. And east you fly odd altitudes. If you're going west you fly even altitudes, and that prevents, it should prevent collisions. Alright, we're through 5,000 feet, so I think what we'll do is we'll come in, we'll put on some tunes, and we'll get a little bit of background music going. There we go. Should get some stuff faintly in the background there. Well, we're tracking. We're going to be coming over Manchester. I'm going to just give me a little bit more of an easterly here. Hey, Brian. You back from Montreal yet? Again, watching that power setting, bringing her up to 40 inches. 6,000 feet. Props should now be nice and stable. And we're just going to keep on climbing. Last night, I've been back into work today, I guess. Alright, a little bit more now. We're full up against the pegs here now on the throttle. So we're starting to see the maximum we can do without boost to the engines. That's okay. We're going to cruise at 30. So we'll just keep an eye on that. If we get below 30 inches when we're in cruise, that's when we bring in the boosters and turn on the blowers for the superchargers and stuff to increase the power, but we should be okay. We're going to go 30 inches, 22 or 2,000 RPMs. Oh, so how's your internet connection? You going to be able to start joining us again? It's 8,000 feet coming up. See, we're now tracking more or less directly to the VOR, so we'll just dial that around. We're on heading. And we are looking good. So we're coming up for Blackpool. That's Blackpool down along here, the coastal town, resort town for northern England. There's the famous pier down there. So 500 feet to go. We'll start bringing ourselves level, and we'll let the aircraft start accelerating. We'll use the higher pitch setting to help us accelerate. And again, we want to keep the airspeed going up. Yeah, well, you got me 6 days a week now that we've added in the Tuesday flights. I know they're mid-afternoon for you, but also Saturdays and Sundays most of the time, so should be lots of opportunities there. So we're getting that nose down, getting that speed coming up. See, I'm constantly having to trim it downwards as the speed builds. So now that we're at 150, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the manifold pressure back to 30 inches. I'm going to bring the props back to 2000 RPM, our cruise power setting. Then readjust the manifold pressure to 30 inches. Retrim slightly. That nose going down. And we can come over now, and the mixture is going to go into auto lean. Mixture's auto lean, and we're going to go into our auxiliary tanks. So if we check our fuel levels, we go left auxiliary, we got like 90 gallons. We'll go left auxiliary for the left engine, and we'll go right auxiliary on the right engine. And we're now burning out of the auxiliary tanks. Friday would be good. It's a nice flight. We're flying Vancouver to Halifax on Friday. We'll just trim slightly. Again, keep us in that 9,000 foot area. Technically we're flying VFR, but we want to try to keep it on as much as we can. So check the props. That's all good. We're just watching our vertical speed here. We'll pull it back slightly when we're at 900. Got a good airspeed going, 175. As we're cruising along here. And everything is looking good. That's Preston, the town of, off in the distance there. Again, our first VOR we're heading to is the one at the Manchester airport. So we're basically just going to cruise along, work our way, and we don't have any DME, so we're just kind of watching for the needle swings. We're at a very built-up area here, as you can see out the windows. One other thing we can do now that we're in level flight, we'll stick the cowl flaps into trail, and what they do is they'll automatically adjust to what's needed to keep the engines nice and cool. At this altitude, you want them to be maintaining a little bit of heat in there to keep the engines at the optimum temperature. I don't really think the engine that's modeled. If you look at the cylinder head temperatures, they're not really moving. Everything's looking good. So this Sunday should be a good one. It's race weekend in the F1 series, which means we should be flying to the next race. They haven't posted it yet, but I believe it's in Australia. Alright, so we're just below 9,000 feet. So come up slightly on our vertical speed, try to get us to climb back up. Just doing minute adjustments here. See if we can slowly edge her back up. Yeah, that's a long flight. That's why I've started splitting them into departure, and then I'll come back for the arrival. That's going to be an extended one, that's for sure. Give me a good chance to get some housework done. But I'm going to have to track it for the virtual airline as well. So I'll be popping in and out to make sure it's all going well. Alright, so we're coming up to the Pennines and stuff that surround Manchester. It's not that far from here. So we're drifting a little bit to the right, so I'll add in a couple notches. Get it swinging to the left slightly. Still watching our elevation here. Get ourselves back up to 9,000 feet. I was tempted to fly live weather, but oh man, it is pretty bad over England today. So I wasn't going to worry about it. So a few clouds it is. At least we get to see the sights. So Manchester's here off to the left, the greater Manchester area. Got the town of Bolton here, and then we get into all the more centralized area. The airport should be just off our nose. As we're heading in, you can see all the aircraft around it. With all the player tags. Everything's looking good. Got Roger's side. Coastline's gonna slowly disappear as we diagonal down over England. Just trying to see what my views are here. Can't remember. It's decent. I should have washed the windows before we headed out. They look pretty gungy. We're almost back up to 9,000 feet. I saw there's a mod out there the guy has done to clean windows on airplanes. There's a whole bunch of them that it'll work on, make it clearer, but I mean, I do overdo it in the sim sometimes because I mean, when I was flying, before every flight we'd clean the windows, but you do get smears and imperfections. Scratches, little things that end up on them. So it does happen. Nothing wrong with that. So the wind's just a couple knots out of the west. We're not going to see much of a ground speed push. Although given the direction we're flying, it'll be a couple knots anyway. All right. Fairly busy down there at Manchester. back over in the UK in May. I will not go into Manchester this time. Going into Heathrow. There's the airport. Just make it out below the clouds there. See, we're almost tracking directly to it. I'll be flying over Air Canada, yeah. They're kind of my go-to. So you can see VOR 2 or Nav 2 is picking up the next VOR. So we'll fly out until we get the VOR swing. As we pass overhead, we'll enter a dead zone. It should go horizontal, then it'll flip around when we come out the other side. See how that does. Pretty much coming right up over top of it now. It's right over there. And we're slightly to the west of it. Ideally, if you were tracking it, you'd be flying right to the VOR, which is located. Try to see if I can actually see it on the model. Somewhere around here. It's on the western or eastern side of the airfield. See the needle starting to move. So what we'll do is we'll come up to the radio, we'll switch over, and you can see the needle's changing over. So both are now pointing to the next waypoint. So the one after that is we'll switch over you as well, and then this one is going to turn to 1175, and after that is 1156, Glenbourne VOR. There we go. And after that's the airport. Alright, so we're going to want to turn slightly more to the east. It actually says it should be on a 141 heading. So we'll just dial ourselves around a little bit until we're heading towards it. There goes the altitude again. Edge downwards. Again, up and down, bobbing through that 9,000. Two more notches, see if we can get ourselves over. This is the Trent VOR. It's not far. It's only 28 miles. You can see the other one's pointing behind us, but that's fine. We're not in range of that one yet anyway. We're just cruising along. were a little bit faster than the Cessna 172s I flew a lot of, but these 1.5 hour to 2 hour flights were pretty much the length that I would go. It's enough of a workout that it's nice to get a little bit of a break. Plus, they're not very big inside, and you are kind of cramped. It's almost less room than in a car. About 3 hours would be my limit, and then I plan for a stop just to stretch the legs and that. You can see the aircraft moving around in the air mass as the air mass is moving up and down as well. That's what causes turbulence. Movement in the air mass. That's Buxton coming up. Little town. Again, we'll try to ease her down towards that 9,000 foot mark. Little areas of, it's almost like it's been burnt out or torn up and not replanted because all the green around here and there's nothing up there. Interesting things, patterns you see from the air. Coming up for 12 o'clock local time. It's all looking good. Of course, we've forced the weather into this mode, but other than that, it's a great day for flying. Right, so we're veering off slightly to the right. Way. Keep that needle more or less pointing straight ahead. So after TNT is our longest leg. It's 97 miles. Basically going to, when we hit the LAM, or as we come up between the BPK and the LAM VORs, we're going to start downwards. We should get some nice views along the River Thames. Passing by the East Midlands Airport as well. Everything's looking good. Temperatures and pressures are all looking good. Fuel levels are looking fine. We'll switch back over to the mains before we descend. So I am running the Orbex scenery for north and central England, which we're seeing out the windows here. So it's one of the reasons it's looking so good out there. Got probably 2 more flights, I think it is, here in England in the DC-3. And then we're going to be moving on to our next series, which is going to take place in North America. We'll be flying another classic airplane for it. It's an idea I got. So we're going to be flying in the U.S. Should be an interesting one. Once again, in a classic old airplane. We've got 132 miles to go. So I'm going to go off mic for a second. I'll turn the music up a little bit. We can listen to that, and we'll just keep plugging on. But first, it's time to head to the next waypoint. So we're going to switch over there. We're going to put in 1156. Yeah, we're too far away to pick it up, but we want to go to a heading of 155 for the next leg. See where we are when we start picking it up again. So we'll dial around to the 155 heading. And this is the one that's going to take us down to London, or at least north of London anyway, before we pick up the next VOR. So I'll be here. I got something I got to do. I'll get the music up a little bit and enjoy the view out the window. Tree. So we just passed over the town of Derby, and we're coming up for East Midlands Airport, which is right off the nose there. It's got a little racetrack. Maybe we've seen this before. Off to the western side of it. Derby's in behind us. There's the airport. And we are cruising down, as I mentioned, towards London. A few other towns and stuff we're going to pass by, Leicester and Wolverton and a few others. We'll see Luton Airport as well as we head in towards Brookman's Park VOR, which is just on the northern edges of the north of London. Very nice. This power plant down there with smoke coming out of the cooling towers. Halfway. And believe it or not, I still occasionally fly these airplanes across the Atlantic from North America. There's a 3-part series, maybe 4-part series on YouTube. They did it in about 10 years ago. I was flying it over for I think one of the anniversaries from World War II. But it shows them flying it across. They went to Gander in Newfoundland and then flew it there over to Greenland. And I think from there they went into northern Scotland and then from there over into Europe. Of course, about 10 years ago they took Lancaster from Hamilton over, did the same type of route. another DC-3. I know that we used to do air shows down at the airfield in New York. It went over one year, so it still happens. And of course, there's DC-3 still in commercial service around the world. Seem to be drifting a little bit west, of course. So let's turn a little bit to the east. Of course, radial engines have a unique sound all to their own. Very distinctive when you hear them, especially the startup and the shutdown as they clank around and do their thing. Pretty unique. There's a lot of people in their Cessna 152s down there. A whole bunch of Spitfires. What's happening over there? We're kind of headed that way. So course correction here as we fly over the town of Leicester. There's Leicester Airport's down here. That's where all these little 152s are flying out of. Working to get us back on track here. It's a problem with no actual autopilot. Just tend to drift around a bit, especially if you're not on it 100%. Pointing slightly off, but that's fine. I want to try to get back online. There's Leicester Airport. See the little 172s out practicing. The spits seem to be down towards Oxford. I don't know, it's quite far away. Might be all the way down to Luton. I don't know. We'll have to see. So if you enjoy flying all these classic old airplanes, what's your favorite? What do you like flying? And what is it about the classics that draw you into them? For me, it's just history. And having flown some classic old planes myself. Something to it. I mean, it is fun to fly the airliners at times and stuff like that, and visit different places in the world. But flying these old ones is kind of interesting as well. All right, let's see if we can get ourselves back on compass course here. back on track. Yeah, they're off to the edge. I'm not sure what airfield they're at. Might be at Old Warden. Could be. That's where the Shuttleworth collection is. That's an amazing place to go to. If you're ever in England and you get a chance to head up to the Shuttleworth collection, north of London, it is an amazing collection of old aircraft mainly, but they also have cars, motorcycles, and stuff. And they got one of the world's oldest flying airplanes, 1911, I believe. It's a Blériot 11? Blériot 11, the same one that flew across the channel in 1912. Not the same aircraft, but the same type. They've also got a reproduction of a Curtiss Flyer that was used in the movie Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines, and it still flies. I've seen that when I was there. When the winds were calm, they took it up and flew it around, which is really cool. And they had a real original 1917 SE-5A World War I fighter, which they flew, which was really interesting for me, as I have flown a replica of that airplane for a number of years. So it's really cool seeing an original flying. Would have been neat if I'd had a chance to fly it myself, but no, didn't happen. But it was pretty cool to just see it flying anyway, knowing that it is out there doing its thing. So 90 miles to go. We're gonna begin our descent about 30 miles out from the destination, so about 60 miles to the top of descent. So creeping up again. Slight downwards fashion, back down towards that 9,000. A few little towns coming up. Next big one's coming up is Northampton. It'll be off to our right, off this way. We're going through a lot of countryside now. Unfortunately, the weather's been very similar across our entire trip, and that's due to being on the Few Clouds preset. As mentioned at the beginning, the weather down here in England today is absolutely horrendous. So we want to be seeing what we're doing here instead of just in the clouds trying to fly IFR in an aircraft which is not really equipped for it. Side here. So there's Northampton's over there. It's the other side of this lake here. Not quite seeing Thames or anything, so we've got a little bit to go. This is Wellingborough coming up, if you know the area. And we're just passing by Rothwell. And I think this over here is, let's see if I can get a name on it, Kettering. Alright, so we're doing pretty good. It's funny, the altitude reporting down this low is fairly accurate on the overlay. It says 9187, and that's pretty much what my altimeter is showing. I don't know why it's so out of whack when we're up higher at airliner altitude. Hopefully someday that all gets fixed. It would be nice to have accurate reporting going on. Interesting little collection of lakes down here. The whole spread of them runs all the way down, across, this way. Ooh, DH-82. That's the Dragon Rapide. It's a pretty interesting airplane. 1930s, late 30s airliner. Sat about 7 or 8 people. Twin engine. British aircraft, so like a lot of stuff in Britain, they're built small for short distances. You don't got to go very far over here. Walney. Of course, we're just cruising along at 9,000 feet. 9,000 feet, this is an unpressurized airplane, no oxygen required. One passenger flying, it would often fly down between 5,000 and 10,000 feet. That way you didn't have to worry about oxygen for the passengers. Of course, flying nowadays, anything over 10,000 feet, you're supposed to go on oxygen part-time. Anything over 12.5, full-time oxygen or pressurized cockpits. So, a simple oxygen tank with a mask is good enough. If you're flying something that can get up that high, but doesn't have a pressurized cockpit. Coming back down to 9,000 feet. It's drifting slightly. Two clicks to the left. Heading for the town of Bedford. It's probably sitting under this cloud right now. Yeah, I think the Spitfires are all over at Old Warden Airfield. So looking forward to the A330 when it comes out. That'll be a nice addition to the fleet. We got a lot of flights going on right now with the 737 and the A320, which are similar types of aircraft. And we've now introduced Tuesday's flights in the 737-800. So currently running Mondays in the 737-700, flying, we're in the Airbus A320 Phoenix, flying our world tour. Tuesdays is the 737-800, flying for Fly2, our leisure airline. We did our first flight yesterday, London to Egypt. Wednesdays is our multiplayer classic airplane, which we're doing right now in the DC-3 across England. Thursdays is no stream. Fridays is currently Aurora, flying the 737-700. Doing a series of those, based out of Vancouver. Saturdays is starting a new series this coming Saturday. We're going to be flying around the Atlantic Ocean from one side to the other, up and down. Starting down in Argentina, I'll be flying the Phoenix A320 for that series. And Sundays is a split between our DHL cargo series, which we currently just got to Jakarta on the last flight, and when the race weekend is on, our F1 series support weekend, where we are flying 747 cargo aircraft in support of the Formula One racing season. We're currently in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, having done 2 legs for that one. So that is all looking good. On the Fly UK livery for the Around the Atlantic. It's our main mainline livery. So we're overflowing Bedford now. Got Letchworth and Hitchin coming up along with Stevenage. And off to the other side we have Luton, and Luton Airport will be coming up. So you can see Luton from here. It's just over there. Just down over that way there. Further south. So we're heading towards the VOR. That wind is very light out of the west, but it is constant, so it's slowly shifting us east of course. Just flew over the Chicksand Small Arm Range restricted airspace. Interesting. Anyway, the Greater London area is coming up. That's Hitchin down there. Probably going to see aircraft starting to pop up over here at Heathrow. Hanging in 9,000 feet. Everything is looking good. That's Heathrow off that way. Luton will be down over here. There it is over there. It's definitely getting into busier airspace. Down to 50 miles, so we're going to begin our descent in 20 miles. Slowly bring her down to where we want to be. So the airport is 426 foot elevation, so we're going to be doing a circuit height at about 1,500 feet. 2,700 foot runway, so it's short. And we have no charts, but the runway runs basically 2002. So we're going to be landing on 20 on 20 right, which is the wider of the two runways. We're almost down to 50 gallons. We got the mains still, 90 gallons in the mains. So right before we head down, we'll switch over back to our main tanks. We took off with about 45% fuel on board. Good. We're still hanging in around 9,000 feet. Rather impressed that we're maintaining that altitude. We'll give us a click for upwards so we don't get too far below 9,000. Everything's still good. Temperatures are good. Pressures are all good. Fuel is good. Check both sides there, and mains are reading the same. It's 11 miles to go. We'll start heading downwards. Past this line of clouds, we should start seeing the area built up a little bit out there. Fly by the little towns here. It's the last bits of countryside before you hit the greater London area, where it starts getting all built up. Miles to go. We're going to come down now. We'll switch over our fuel tanks. So we'll go left engine to left main. And right engine to right main. Switch over to left main to monitor their fuel levels. Picking up the Lamborn VOR yet. Because I got both of them tuned in. Switch you over. Showing us the Lamborn VOR now. Yes, it is. I am almost 33. That's one place. That should be 1.5. if you want to be accurate with it. That. See, we're passing the Brookman's Park VOR. Alright, so switch over. And we're now going to go to a heading of 132 degrees. There. Heading towards the Lambourne VOR. And after that, we're going to want to heading away from the Lambourne VOR out on the 152 radial. That should take us to Rochester. So that's us about 30 miles out now. So we're going to start a slow descent. Try to hit her about 500 feet per minute. I'm going to pull the engines back to 25 inches. Don't want to overspeed too much. Try to maintain about 170 knots in the descent. And it's always a balancing act. A little bit more towards the VOR. Coming up for Lawton. There's 8,000 feet. We've left the landing lights on just for illumination outside, to let people know we're coming, and the fact that I forgot to turn them off. See the VOR starting to swing, so we're going to now tune to 150 degrees to take us out towards Rochester. There's the Thames. Town of Ilford. Over here. And we're going to target overflying the airport at about 2,000 feet, and then we'll go into a left pattern for the landing. decrease our descent rate slightly. Keep it about 400 to 500. There's London. You can see the London Eye, the O2 Arena. Oh, I can't see the London Eye, but there's the O2 Arena. You see City Airport, City Centre Airport, London City Airport. And the Thames, see it towards Greenwich. Canary Wharf area. Very nice. Rochester's just over this way. Okay, we want to be coming in across the airfield from the basically the southwest across the runway at 90 degrees, or the south westwards. Out in the east of London. Of course, the Thames heads out that way into the North Sea. I believe that's the M25 below us, the ring road around London. So we're 6,000 feet. Speed's good. Descending at about 500 feet per minute. Again, we're heading down to 2,000 for the flyover of the airport. Increased air pressure is bringing up our power in the manifold, but that's fine. We'll just let it climb. We're keeping that 165 and 170 airspeed, which is what we want. It's on the other side of this river here. We're going to fly down, then we'll turn towards it and then cross overhead. So it's just after 12:30 local time. So it's been a nice flight down from Walney Island. The aircraft does get across the terrain pretty quickly, given that it's a twin-engine prop from the 1930s. Uh, 3,500 feet to go. Starting to come up to the clouds. We have to increase our descent rate. Thicker air is providing a little bit more lift, so it's slowed down our descent slightly. 1,000 feet. We'll pull that power back to 20 inches again. It's 5,000 feet. Towards the airport. It's not a big airport. It's out by these highways here. Might even be I don't think it's a grass field. But it might be. Alright, speed's coming up. Right back before the gear horn's gonna go off. That's good. 1,500 feet. Oh, there's the airport. It's right there. So basically, that one's not really in use. These are the runways here. They're going to be landing on this one here. All right. So we get ourselves set up here. So mixture is going to go full forward. Props are going to go full forward. Start slowing down. Here's the runway we're using, 20. So we're going to come up around the town. And we'll come in and land, and then we're going to taxi down to the parking area. And it is a grass field. Turn off the gyro pilot. Start our turn, speed coming back. Alright. So we're going to turn to a heading of basically 02, and that'll put us on the downwind. Come out over the town, watching our airspeed, watching our altitude. Stay around here for a little bit longer. Try to keep that speed going. Just keep circling around. Airport's kind of off to our wing now, so we're going to come up to the coast here. We'll follow the coast around the Medway. Music now. Turn along the Medway here. Watching that speed, watching the altitude. in 400 foot, well, 426 foot airport elevation. You can see the airport over there. There's an SR-22 there. So basically when we get up to the end here at this little bend to the left in the Medway, that's where we're going to make our turn, and that should take us straight in to the runway. So we're 1,000 feet up now. Looking good. Nice view down here, all the boats. And there's the airfield over there. Alright, so we'll begin our turn. Bring the speed back a little bit. First notch of flaps going in. Keep that as a gentle turn. There's the airport. Alright, mixture's fully forward, flaps fully, or props fully forward. Gear down. I'm going to land at about 80. Half flaps. Slowly keep her curving around. It's 100 knots. Three-quarter flaps. We're going to do full flaps because this is a short runway. All right, flaps full. It's 500 feet. Knots. Slight wind from the left. 80 knots. Idle. We're down. Slowing on the rudders, bring that tail back. Tail is down. And we're rolling. We'll come off here on the cross. And then we'll go park her up. Let's bring the flaps up, make sure we don't get hit with any stones or anything. All right, we'll bring her in here on the grass. Wheel her around. we go. Alright, let's get the brakes on. Let's get the engines up to 1,000 RPM. Alright, I'll let them run for a second. We'll open the cowl flaps, turn lights off, position lights can come off, windshield pitot heats can come off, boost bumps can come off. Alright, get the engine stabilized at 1,000 RPM. There we go. And we'll shut them down. All right, so that's the engines off. Beacon light can come off. Avionics. Battery will come. Oh, go away. Battery will come off. Mags are off. We'll pull the master. Generators off. And we'll open the back door. Well, here we are. Beautiful landing on that grass field here at Rochester. Hope you enjoyed. Come along, join us on the next one. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye for now.